It is the last day of January of 2025. I can't even believe that. Welcome to Art Pastor Live. My name is Steve Thomason. I am an artist. I'm a visual artist. I'm a pastor in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. I'm a professor of spiritual formation and the dean of the chapel at Luther Seminary in St. Paul, Minnesota. You put all of that together, I'm the art pastor, and I love exploring spirituality and scripture through visual art and creativity. And every Friday afternoon, as often as I possibly can, I like to go live at 4 p.m. Central Time because I'm here in the great state of Minnesota, in the South Metro of the Twin Cities. And I like to go live as a spiritual practice and as an artistic challenge. I was meeting with my spiritual director this morning and talking about like why I do this Art Pastor Live thing. And I think part of the reason is because it's live, it is raw and anything can happen and quite often does. And I can't like pre-script it. I can't make it a polished video. It's live and it's raw. And I think that in itself is a spiritual practice of just living into the unknown, being open to what the Spirit wants to do, and rolling with and adapting with any challenges that come. And because it's live, you can interact with me. So if you're with me in this moment, whether you're on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page, I invite you to drop a note in the chat box. Just let me know that you're here. Maybe let me know where you are because it's kind of fun to imagine people in different places at the same time. And if you have any questions or comments about what we're doing, let's make this interactive and talk. And today, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to draw today. I have a photo reference that I want to look at, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my photo reference. This is it. I subscribe to this great website called Proko.com, Proko. I am not an affiliate. It's not a paid sponsorship. I just love it. Hey, Ike's here from the UK. Woohoo! Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed today. And Proco.com, it's an amazing site. If you want to learn about how to be a better artist, go there. And they have one of the many things they have is a photo reference pack for figure drawing, where you can just set up timed sessions, and they've got all these photo packs that you can purchase. And so this is one that came from that. And I just loved the expressive quality of this model. And I thought, yeah, I just want to draw this image. And hey, Alexandra Jacob. Hey, it's Allie. All right, Allie, you made it. I'm so excited to have you here. I hope you have your iPad ready to go, Allie. Um, yeah, so cool. Um, yeah, I'm gonna draw this image. So anyway, got this from Proco.com. I paid for it. I have the rights to use it as a reference while I'm drawing, so I'm sharing it. Um, and I love the expression, and this has been an intense week for the world. So much is going on, like everything from the craziness of our politics to plane crashes to war breaking out again in Africa and fires and floods, all this stuff, right? Sometimes I just get overwhelmed and I just don't have words. Um, Words just don't grasp it. And I use drawing as a practice. Hey, Stephen Martin's here. He's in Tennessee. Oh, it's so good. I hope you get your other daughter involved today and do some art with me. Um, so here's what I want to do. I want to draw. And the only talking that I'm going to do today is about the process of drawing. And there'll be probably big chunks of time where I don't talk. I'll have my chill music going. So what I do invite is for you to grab your art supplies. Whether you're like Allie and are learning how to use Procreate on your iPad, or you have pen and paper or watercolor, whatever it is, I invite you to draw this image with me if you want to, or you can draw whatever you want. Um, Now, when I go to my next screen, this image is going to be a lot smaller. Um, so you might want to like take a quick screenshot of this. I'll give you a moment, take a screenshot if you want to use it as a photo reference. I have the reference actually up on my big monitor that's sitting right in front of me. So I'll be using that reference. I will be drawing in Procreate today. So if you want to geek out over Procreate technique, here we are. That's what we're doing because I love Procreate on my iPad so much. It's such a great app. So, all right. As soon as I go to the next screen, I'm switching into contemplative mode. So let's just take a deep breath together, shall we? And prepare ourselves to connect with God through this bodily practice of drawing and contemplating this image, the emotions that we feel through this image, and just ask God to speak to us, maybe calm us or rile us up, whatever needs to happen. Let's breathe together. All right, here we go. Boom. The music's playing. I have my iPad open so you can see down here in the left. I have my over-the-shoulder cam so you can actually see my hand moving through on the iPad. Got the big iPad screen, and I have the image just above me here for your reference, but it's kind of small unless you have a really big screen. So anyway, here we are on the iPad. I'm going to start by opening up Procreate, and Procreate opens you to its gallery. And if you hit the plus sign, you can choose a new canvas. And I like to draw, for these live streams, I like to draw on a square canvas. It's a 4K square, so that means it's 4,000 pixels wide by 4,000 pixels tall, which is a really high resolution image. And so let's start. I called this session Drawing with Feeling. And so as I explore, I actually have to switch over so I can see my image here in front of me. Yep. First thing I want to do, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that the first thing to do is I like to create a mid-tone for my background. And so that you open up the layers, you hit the background color, and then you choose a color. So I know Allie's following along. So if you're following step by step, then you can do this. I'm just kind of down here in the green zone, but mostly gray, just slightly green. But that when you create your background as a neutral color, it allows you to work both towards the darks, but also bring out the highlights. If you just have a white background, unless you're doing pure watercolor technique, you don't have to start with a white background. Anyway, there you go. So first thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use just a thin natural wash brush with, I'm going to choose this mid-tone color, and I'm just going to go a little bit darker than that and a little bit more towards the green. And let's see how big is my brush. My brush size is about like that. I think I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. Yeah, like that. And if I use two fingers and double tap, it undoes and goes backwards. And so first thing I want to do is just move through this image in a gestural way. And so I see like the shape. See how the front of his head kind of has this angle, and you've got the movement, kind of feeling just the movement of the head. And also thinking about like lights and darks. Got this dark area down here. And at this point, what I'm thinking about is both like movement, like man, the way the way that hand flares out, it's just so cool. And so I'm not thinking about proportions or anything right now. I'm just thinking about like movement. I'm also thinking a little bit about tone, value structure. And now I'm gonna just maybe get a little bit more refined and think about shapes. That that angle of the forehead is really interesting to me. You know, the hand. And so if you come up here to the color, it keeps a history of the colors you've been using. Um, so you can go back there and reference that if you want to. Now notice what we've got here is the background color is actually a lot darker than the skin tone. So I'm going to go ahead and um, make my brush bigger and just kind of knock in uh, a little bit darker for that background. All right, so now I just have just really, really rough layout. And so I'm going to switch mode. You know, every artist has their own way of doing things. And what I like to do at this point now is I do like pencil sketching quite a bit. So now that I've kind of got the rough areas laid out, now I'm going to come in with just a little bit more of a refined approach and start thinking about proportions and shapes with my pencil. I'm using a Max U uh, sketch brush. So now I want to think structurally just a little bit. So you have a center line right here. And you have that nose that's coming like that. And then you have underneath. So this is it's a really fun 3/4 forced perspective angle, you know, from underneath. So you got all the different dynamics going. And the way that brow curves around comes right to the edge of the nose. And that's all, yeah, like that. And how the eyebrow follows the ridge. Like that. So again, I'm just thinking, now I'm just thinking about forms and anatomy just a little bit. The shape of the eyeball underneath that socket. So just following the contour of that nose and the shapes around it. Not getting too bogged down in details yet, but the plane of the lip. See, what I love about this is I just love the observation, you know, just trying to pay attention to all the little curves and forms, following the patterns of the face and the shape and the flow, lights and darks. So you've got this plane that comes underneath that lip, like that. Yeah, that's cool. As the light's coming from up above, you know, it casts these really nice shadows. And there's not like an actual hard edge underneath the chin because it's a curve, you know, the bone comes out and it goes down and goes back like that. So you don't want to create hard lines. The place you have a nice edge is where the edge of the face intersects with the hair behind. And so now we can look at the cheek and the jawline behind there. So we have the shadow of the nose coming down. This is in shadow. There we go. Yeah. So we have and then we want to follow this curve. So you have some underlighting coming. So the shadow is actually on the edge of the chin because you got light from above and you've got the secondary light bouncing up from below. And so that creates this cool three-dimensionality around the jawline. And then let me bounce out a little bit. Yeah. So then the neck is right here. That trapezoid comes down like that. And his neck is turned, so you got the torque of the neck muscles. His Adam's apple is right here. So you have the jawline that's coming like this. And then there's you have the ear is way back here. So the jaw's actually further back than you think it is. And the back of his head is all the way back here. Now we have this really neat curl. So you can see how like there's kind of like bangs going on here. So that kind of creates the feel of the front of his face. And then you have the change of plane direction right here. So there's going to be shadows coming down. His ear is actually below his lip. And you have the really dark part of his hair here. A little bit of that. And then you got this big curl that comes over here. It's really expressive hair coming back here. When you're drawing hair like this, you know, you can be just expressive with it. You don't have to get all the details correct. And you got we'll come back and mess with that. You want to follow the jawline. It's really tricky to get the shading to look believable. Because we've got that, I'm going to hit my eraser and make sure my eraser is the same brush as my pencil, and I just want to kind of knock in that bounce light just a little bit. Come back to my brush like that. There's a lot of muscles going on underneath the skin here. The deltoids that are wrapping like that. Okay, so I think we got a good base for face. And then we'll come in and do some details on that a little bit later. Notice how there's not a lot of shade there. How is the model able to hold this pose as if frozen? Ah, John, you're funny, John. Yeah, I know. They made the magic of photography. Okay. So now I want to focus in on this hand right here. And I just love the expressiveness of this hand. Let's see. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And as I think about this hand. So a hand has some basic parts. So we want to think about the top of the hand as it's these four tendons that meet to the knuckles like this. So you want to kind of anchor point the top of the knuckles, and then the top of the hand, and that's catching all the highlight. And then the wrist bones right here are, that's the pivot point. And then there's a like a side of the hand that comes to this pinky knuckle. And it gets all wrinkly in here because it's crunched up. And then this model is pretty skinny, meaning you can see a lot of the tendons and details of his skeletal structure, which is just cool for drawing purposes. So if I can get the knuckles anchored, then I can start building out. And so each finger has 3 parts, right? There's the first, there, this actually comes right to his center lip. So you've got 3 knuckles that come like that. And then the knuckles bulge around, kind of come in and go out like that. Just trying to get the structure of the fingers a little bit. Let that come in. Then you've got this knuckle here. So we come up to this center knuckle. And so I want to think about this knuckle here, this knuckle. And again, this is the pressure of like doing it live, because I don't always get it right when I'm doing it, and I'm just kind of showing you the process. Just trying to observe what I'm seeing, but it's also a combination of drawing what you see in front of you, because all the information is right in front of you, but also drawing upon knowledge of the study of anatomy to know what is going on underneath the skin. So now we can follow the knuckle. See, there's always like a curve in the knuckles because the pinky is much shorter than the others, and so the focal point of the turn, the fulcrum of the finger, is further back than the ring finger, right? And so it's going to come down to this knuckle, which is then coming to this knuckle. Now if I follow the contour of the side of the hand. Mark Echo, hey bro. Oh, Mark Echo, oh my goodness. I gotta tell everybody, Mark Eckel was my Sunday school teacher when I was in 4th grade. Uh, and Mark Eckel is one of the best artists ever in the world. And he was my art hero when I was growing up. And I'm so glad to have you tune in, man. I'm just living the dream here, doing art. Mark Eckel gave me my first airbrush back in the early 80s. And was just such a huge inspiration for me as an artist and as a Christian trying to understand God through oh, thanks, man. Okay, so and you should check out Blue Spaghetti. That's Mark's um, ministry, and he does a splat ministry where he does these cool live paintings on black canvas and uses his hand, and it's wild. Mark, you've toured with like, didn't you tour with Casting Crowns when you were doing that stuff? So I'm gonna splat experience. Yeah, sweet. So I'm gonna not worry too much about this hand because this is just a 1 hour deal, and I want to get to. So I'm gonna leave this hand a little bit more just kind of expressive for the moment, and if we get time, we can come back to it. But it is a really cool hand because like it's going back. All right. That's pretty cool. So I think what I want to do now is I'm going to start painting a little bit. So I'm gonna create a layer. I want to preserve that pencil drawing for right now. About 125 concerts with the band, great people with Casting Crowns. Ah, sweet. That's so cool. Okay, so I'm going to choose that mid-tone of the background, and I'm going to go up a notch. We're not going to go to white yet because you save white for the very last. But I'm going to go ahead and use my thin neutral or my thin natural gouache brush. And I just want to start laying in some of the mid light tones and start modeling this face just a little bit. Actually go a little smaller with my brush. And just think about, okay, now where is the light hitting the, like, these are the highlight planes, if you will. So we're going to go this way, and you can see how I'm going to model that down. We've got the light hitting here on the lip. Got the light hitting here, like that. And then I'm just going to blend a little bit. And you can see we got a little bit of light shining through his hair over here. That's going to be coming down and illuminating this part. And then we've got a little bit of highlight on the eyelid, coming like that. Make my brush a little bigger here. Not worrying too much about rendering completely, but like, again, we're just getting, and I want to try to follow the contour of the skin, right? So going across the pectorals like this, kind of around the deltoids like this. And then also throw in some of the highlights on the hair. Got some stuff up here, like that. Boom. And then we'll come in and we got, go a little smaller. So I'm just hitting the, your vision is so blessed by God. What was the name of Mark's art ministry? Splat Experience. John Youngblood's asking those questions. Yeah, Splat Experience. So John comes from my Las Vegas life back in the day. All right. And so here at the top of the hand catches all the light because it's, you know, it's a flat plane. So I'm gonna first go in this direction, following the knuckle to wrist direction, but it also, you know, it kind of wraps like this as well, and then it shoots down, and we catch the top of it is the light, and then like that. So now we have like a basic light and dark, and I will go ahead and like throw in the big planes of this hand. Got the shoulder that's behind it. We got this finger. It's kind of cool just to let this be a little bit more just abstract in the shapes. Yeah, that's fun. So I'm gonna go to some darker and start laying in some of the dark behind this finger. Like that. And now I'm gonna go just a little bit lighter. Try to hit these this bounced light underneath. Just to get a little bit more variation. Okay, we're sitting at 4:38. So this is what we've got done in about 38 minutes. Well, I talked for a while, so this is like a half hour. So a 30-second sketch, if you will. Now here's a couple things that we could do. I think at this point, so since we're using Procreate, let's take advantage of that. And Allie, if you're still with me, let me know if you're with me, Allie. That'd be awesome. So here's a trick you can do. If you take and swipe, just take one finger and swipe right on these layers, it'll select multiple layers, and then you can touch group. And now all of these layers are in a group. And if I swipe left and hit duplicate, now I can actually just hide this group because I want to save it for later. And then I want to take this group and I want to flatten it. And now all of these layers are together like they would be on a traditional canvas. And so at this point, I just want to start painting, you know, getting more into the detail. And so I'm gonna go back to my darks. I'm gonna choose my sketch marker soft because you can really, I think you can paint well with this marker. And I want to start just kind of getting in and hitting some more of the dark details of like the eyebrow right here. And let's look at the nose. If I start rendering with some details on the nose a little bit and hit like this. And see, and now I can start actually drawing with, see what I did there was I pressed on the color and chose that mid-tone color, and I can actually draw with that mid-tone color. And instead of erasing lines, I want to paint them out, and I want to paint in my tones and just start rendering like that. And so got a little bit of that underlighting here. And you'll notice that I'm going to come in here and go dark because that hair is dark. Thinking about how God will use his gift in you in eternity as we live in the kingdom. Haha. Sweet. Right. So notice how there's not really a lot of detail in that eye socket back there. So I'm just going to take that mid-tone and just start kind of painting it. And quite honestly, everybody, like every time I draw, I learn something new. And most of the time I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just messing around, trying to learn stuff. And I'm not pretending like I'm a master at this. I'm just enjoying the exploration. And that's what I hope you can do with drawing. Which brush are you using? Oh, Allie, I'm using a brush. I actually purchased it. It's called Max U Sketch Marker Soft. And Max Olichney is a guy who makes brushes. So you can like go online and look for Max Olichney, Ulichy, I think. Or look for the Max Pack brushes. And that's, I love his brushes. And that's the brush I'm using. And brushes really do make a difference in Procreate. And the skill of creating brushes is, you know, trying to emulate traditional media with a digital surface is what, you know, we're trying to do. So now I'm going to take this lighter tone and I want to come in and gotcha. Yeah, you're welcome, Allie. Just trying to render the shapes, you know. Coming here with the dark again. How are we doing on time? We got a few more minutes. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to do a finished piece. Um, just trying to explore the shape and emotion of the piece and not get too bogged down by all the technical details. Start getting more gestural with the hair. One of the things about drawing is, if you watch the masters draw, yeah, two of the big things that they always talk about is edges. That's one thing. It's like right here is an edge of how that forehead interfaces with the dark hair behind it. And if you can get your edges and your shapes um, and your values right, then you can, have an illusion of depth. And stay gestural with the hair for sure, because there's millions of hairs in there. I don't know if there's millions, but hundreds of thousands probably of hairs, and you obviously you can't draw all the hairs, and so you just want to try to find form. When I was talking to my spiritual director this morning, uh, and we were reflecting on why I like to do live stream. I think there's lots of reasons why I like to do it, but part of it is, I drew caricatures at amusement parks venues for a really long time, full time for 10 years of my life, from the time I was 17 until I was 27. That was my full time gig. And so I spent hours, like 10 to 12 hours a day, or 8 to 12 hours a day, sitting in public drawing with people watching me. And that in itself was kind of cool because I was interacting with people and talking while drawing. And I think there's a part of me that kind of misses that. Not that I want to do that for a living again, but that public aspect of it, sitting here chatting with you, um, not, I mean, I think it'd be more fun if I could hear you, but I don't want to do this on Zoom because that's a totally different experience. But um, I don't know. I just think it's kind of fun. The challenge of doing it live and not knowing if it's going to come out horribly. Like I feel like my live stream last week was horrible. Like my art last week was just really bad. But that's okay. Not that this is fantastic or anything, but I don't know. So I think what I want to do is go back to my natural brush, and I want to darken the background just a little bit to give a little bit more contrast to the highlights of the hair. Let the hair stand out a little bit more. Make my brush bigger. And definitely right here, because art is all about watching with my son. He says this is awesome. Agree, bro. Oh, thanks, Mark. I gotta tell you, man, it's just so cool that we're still able to connect through media like this. Um, so, so one of the things about, visual art and drawing, especially if you're trying to do some kind of representational art as opposed to abstract art, but even in abstract art, one of the important parts of it is contrast. So, value contrast. So if I want the hand to pop out more, that I have to make the background darker because you can only go so bright. Now, I'm not at full white here for sure, um, but I definitely making that darker definitely brought it out. So I'm going to switch back. we're getting really close to the end, and so I think I'm just gonna pop in a few highlights. Again, just keeping this in a loose sketch with the Maxolikny brush. Um, got some, I'm gonna just pop some highlights in the hair. The reason my brush palette's popping up like that is because when my palm hits it, sometimes it thinks it's activating the brush. So you just gotta kind of get used to that. It's one of the adjustments to using the digital. It took me a little while to adjust to painting digitally, but man, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, let me get in here and just bring this up a little bit. See how by bringing this tone up, it it makes the shadow under that nostril a little darker, which is important, I think, like that. And now at this point in the art process, um, you would just spend time working it, modeling it. Um, if I really were trying to do like a finished portrait, this right here would just be an underpainting, just the beginning of the painting. Uh, Mark says, you will have to get me on the digital someday. I still love painting on illustration board. I know. In 2002, I made the decision to go digital because I was trying to make a living as an artist, supporting my family and my house church ministry. And uh, it's just faster going digital. And so I just made the decision. I'm doing it. And so I spent a lot of time learning Photoshop. And back then I was using Corel Painter quite a bit to do more traditional media. And and I love it. But if you can see in the background, you probably can't see it right now because my screen is so small, but like I'm working on a traditional oil painting right now, and I still try to keep my traditional skills up. And like I draw in my sketchbook, I do figure drawing on paper. Don't ever lose that. But okay, now, just for the sake of this demonstration, this practice, not trying to do like finished art, whatever, I'm just going to go to pure white and uh, just pop in some highlights just to emphasize, um, kind of do some rim lighting on the fingers. That's kind of cool. You can see how even just that little bit of highlight, brings out a little bit more of the depth. We'll do a little bit down here. And then notice that the highlight is not actually on the edge of the nose, but it's right here. Just the way that the structure of the face catches. we'll just pop in a little bit right here. And then this is actually one of the highlights right here. And then a couple little spots on the lip. And then right here. Yeah. Notice how just those little pops of light, um, I think made a difference. And then now here, these are just like pure gesture strokes, which is it's kind of cool in itself. And we'll just pop a couple spots there. Whoa, there we go, everybody. Huh. How's that for you? Haha, I told my son you were going to highlight that right cheek, then you did it. Nice. Whoa, we nailed it. That's awesome. All right. Well, that was fun. That was about 40-minute sketch. Ended up just being black and white, which I think is cool. And so, hey, I'm just going to come back here and say, Mark, keep up the good work, bro. So proud of you. Thanks, Mark. I'm proud of you and proud to be known by you. And to all of you who stuck with me through the whole live stream, super fun. So glad that you're here. Again, I'm Steve Thomason, the art pastor, and my mission in Art Pastor Ministry is to explore spirituality and scripture through visual art and creativity, just opening ourselves up to wonder, to experience God, so that together we can grow deeper in the love of God through Jesus Christ in the power of the Holy Spirit for the sake of the world. So thanks so much. Ike said, lovely session. Man, I'm so glad you stuck with me. I know it's like 11 o'clock at night now in the UK. So cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. See you next time. Share this with your friends and just have a great weekend. Talk to you later.